Welcome, everyone. It's one of those nights. Yeah, interesting. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So if everybody could take a seat, that would be lovely. Thank you. Yeah, it's been there for a while. I don't know whose key that is. Okay, thank you for your great find, Jeremy. Yeah. Okay, so thank you everyone for coming to Sacred Space. And let's just go ahead and start by taking a nice deep breath. Starting to open the sacred space within ourselves. Affirming our peace, affirming our health. Keeping in our prayers all of those who are experiencing whatever it is that's going around. And we hold everyone in the light, knowing that they are perfect and whole and healthy. Letting that energy go all the way out to the edges and beyond the universe. Feeling ourselves get very big and expanded. And with the next breath, appreciating Creator and bringing our energy back in, all the way back into our heart region. Keeping our hearts and our minds and our ears open tonight. We're in deep gratitude for community, and deep gratitude for ourselves, and deep gratitude for the journey, and so it is. Amen. Okay, so as you get your tithe ready for Sacred Space, I'll ask you that you just hold it in your hands and put it up to your heart. We're just going to do a silent blessing of that tonight. Anything you need, let it be yours. So it is. Okay, oh my goodness, we are getting so busy at Sacred Space. It's so absolutely wonderful. So excited. So coming up, let's see, we have the Dance Deepening program this weekend. I think that's a pre-registration thing with Stephen Pierce, but if you're interested, there is information, I believe, on the bulletin board. And then I am going to be doing service. It's about love for February, right? And I'll be doing service on Sunday, and it's loving what is. So if you'd like to come and join us, that's at 11 a.m. And then Brenda Watts is doing an energy self-care and chakra healing. It's $20, and she's teaching you about energy self-care and balancing the chakras. That's from 7 to 9 p.m. Thank you. On February 2nd. And then I'll put this back up on the bulletin board, but Elanya has moved to, put that down for a minute. Elanya has moved to the coast, and she'll be coming back over to do this workshop at $75. It's from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, February 7th. It's called The Essence of Spirituality. And this is what the flyer says. This is a fun, thought-provoking, and transformational workshop developed and facilitated by Reverend Elanya Nightingale Warren. In the 6-hour workshop, we will focus on learning exercises, tips, and tools that can, if put into practice, lead you into a deeper understanding of yourself in truth, and into developing a real-life communicative connection with the God of your heart. This is a hands-on experience of unlocking your higher consciousness potential and utilizing the very nature of who you really are to add to your to aid you on your spiritual journey. And it comes, let's see, the cost of $75 includes the materials and level 1 certificate. So if you're interested, you can contact her and let her know you're interested, and she will take payments if that's something you need to do. Tara, can you talk about the soul journaling that's going to be happening on the 8th? Am I missing Tara? Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be doing a soul journaling workshop for women, and there's no cost. I want to make it available to anybody who wants to participate. Bring paper and a pen. If you already have a journal you want to use, bring that. And I'm going to bring some examples of different things you can use to jazz up your journal and different techniques so that we can not just write about Dear Diary today, I went to the store and did this and did that. We're gonna like do some soul work, and we're gonna talk to our guides or whatever you speak to dig into and do some healing this year.
So that's the second Sundays, right? And what time again?
At 1:30.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And then the last thing, we're very excited. We just announced it last Sunday. We're going to be launching Sacred Space Seminary, and that we have a free intro for that. On the 20th, I'm sorry, my throat's kind of sore, so I'm losing my voice a little bit. On February 20th, that's going to be at 6:30 to 7:30. It is a 2-year program. It's very, for lack of a better word, intensive and very comprehensive program. So if you'd like to come and find out more about that, please join us on the 20th. So without any further ado, so Wise Soup, Desiree has just so kindly offered to take over Wise Soup. Well, okay, I asked her. So would you do, Soul Talk with Jada Live, on Wise Soup night? And so she is doing that for us every month, and just feeling very grateful to you for doing that. And she is interviewing, well, I don't know if she really knows him, but Matt Wilson tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to these two tonight. Thank you. Let's give them a hand.
Is this on? Am I working? Is that me? There you go.
You always could turn me on. The only one ever. Hi. Can you hear me okay? Yeah? I have a little voice, but a big one at the same time. Yeah. Welcome to Wise Soup Wednesday. Thank you so much for the soup, Steve. It's delicious. Thank you to Sacred Space and the supporters of Sacred Space for the opportunity to host the Wise Soup Wednesday. Thank you for the forum, Patricia, and people who are supporting us. And the sound gal. Thank you, darling. Oh, that's nice. Now I know what it's like to be a singer, yeah? We plug one ear.
Check one.
One. Check. We're rock stars. Okay. So Wise Soup Wednesday is hosting me, I guess. I see some new faces, so I'll give a little background. My name is Desiree Rudder, and I do a radio show called Soul Talk with Jada on KMUZ, which is aired here in Salem and in Kaiser on 100.7 FM and in the Valley on 88.5 FM. And you can also tune in on kmuz.org and on your smartphone or tablet or whatever you use on the TuneIn radio app. It's a free app. And you can listen in to that show every Saturday from 9 to 11 p.m. And it's also expanded into a news forum. It's called Mars Social. It's an online news deal, and I get to write an article there. And then here, of course, at Sacred Space. So my dreams are coming true of being able to ripple into media. I didn't have that goal, but the goal had me, yeah? It's kind of cool. So the crux of Soul Talk with Jada, which I've been hosting for over 3 years now, is, are you being who you've come here to be? I wanted to know because I didn't know if I was, excuse me, I didn't know if I was being who I had come here to be. And my original question is, are you doing what you've come here to do? Because I worked a 9-to-5 job for the state of Oregon for a while and had gone through corporate America, still not making enough I was at the time a single mom of 6 kids. And I didn't really I was kind of sick and tired, just struggling and just trying to make it. And I noticed that I would show up to things that I really loved to do, but I couldn't show up to work that I really had no value, found value in, even though it was paying the bills, sort of, but not really. I just didn't like it. I was unhappy. And to me, I would rather be struggling and doing what I love than struggling doing what I didn't love. So I was like, okay, well, what would I do for the rest of my life for free, but just happen to get paid for? And that happened to be massage. So I started doing massage, and that opened the door for me to be able to expand into, well, if that's possible, what else have I always wanted to do? I love radio. I love being on the radio and doing programming, producing. So I just gave it a shot, and then that worked. And I was like, well, what else is there? If that worked, and what else is there? Well, I want to be a writer. So I do some writing, and well, that worked. Now what's possible? So I started to notice that I was happier, my family was happier, people in my circle of environment were happier, and they were sharing the happiness. And then Facebook comes along, right? And then that gets to share a little bit more. It gets wider and wider, and the ripple really is happening. Excuse me. And then we talk about that attraction deal. I'm happier, so my universe is reflecting that back to me. And I get more and more opportunities to enjoy, have real, true joy. I'm not always like happy. I'm actually pretty grumpy sometimes. My son could probably tell you, and my beloved.
Never grumpy.
No, I'm peachy all the time. But I still really have the current of joy flowing through me, which is kind of new. I didn't know that was possible. I thought it was a walking contradiction. If I was pissed off but I still had joy, I didn't put it together. And then I finally realized, oh, well, I am joy. But I experience feelings of stuff, triggers or hooks or whatever the case may be. So the idea of this show is that I wanted to know really, truly, if other people were, what was the deal? Like, are you really experiencing joy, and why not if you're not? So I said, are you doing what you've come here to do? Because I thought that was the answer. If you just do what you love, then you'll be happy. And one of my guests about a year into it said, well, there's a difference between being and doing. And so what if you just be who you've come here to be? I was like, oh, dang, okay. So that was, for the next year, that was the question I asked people. And then one of my guests, J. Ross Quinn, he's an author and a speaker, and he said to me, well, that's dandy, but how can you know if you're being who you've come here to be if you don't know who you are? I was like, oh, shit. Okay, well, I don't know who I am, but really I did know who I am. I do know who I am. I've always known who I am, but I've either dumbed it out to match what your outsides are telling me what I should be, or I have been embarrassed because I didn't have the support of that. And what I learned is that Sri M, when he was here having the one-on-one with him, I asked him the question. I asked if I could record it for my show because I wanted to interview him. An opportunity, right? And I had the balls to do it. Like, I asked him, and he said, oh, yeah, sure. And then I asked him, and he said, we're a spark of the divine. That was it. I know who I am. He totally affirmed, his words affirmed what I had already known. And it gave me permission to say it out loud. Because if it was anybody else that was here, I'd probably be going, yeah, I'm a massage therapist, and I'm a mom, and I'm a partner, and I'm, I am. But really, truly, I am a spark of the divine. And in this audience, you get it, right? And so it doesn't feel so scary. But out there, it kind of does. So the crux of the show is to normalize that feeling of knowing who you really are. My job is to remind people of who they've come here to be by asking questions. So enough about me and how I got here. This beautiful man with the new man bun, he is Matt Wilson, and I'll let him tell you a little bit about himself. But I'll tell you why I've asked him to come up here. Not only the nepotism of him being my beloved, but also because Matt has a very, he won't talk about himself, but I know that he'll answer my questions. Because, I don't know, I haven't done his laundry yet because we just started living together, but I will eventually, I promise. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
All right, this is Matt Wilson.
Hi.
Hi, Matt. Thank you very much for being here tonight. I'm going to face you. Let me get comfortable.
Sounds lovely.
Hi. Take a deep breath with me. Thank you. Hi, honey.
Hi, sweetie.
Hi. We're just going to talk like we talk to each other anyway. Is that okay? Do you want that closer?
Do I need it closer?
Yeah. Even though he has a big voice, but probably for continuity of the recording.
There. Can we hear me better?
Is it better?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty. You know that I asked the question, but I would like to know if you would like, just tell me a little bit about yourself. You were raised...
My name's Matt. I think I've met most of you, so you probably know my name is Matt, but may not all know my background. I was born a long ways from here, Salem Hospital, and I was born and raised in this area. I haven't left much. My father was a dentist, very stable Judeo-Christian home, and that background was amazing and wonderful in helping me build who I am and my core beliefs. But throughout that, I also always questioned all my beliefs, questioned who I was, questioned why I'm here, which caused some problems in those circles as well. A little piece of my background, when I was about age 12, I started having major medical issues. I don't know if you're familiar with, I had ulcerative colitis at the time, and spent most of junior high and high school in and out of hospitals. So I lived weeks, months at a time, pain medicine cycle, not eating, not drinking, just living the hospital cycle. And through that, it taught me a lot about my own strength, who I am, and who I am in God, and where love actually comes from. The shadow side to that is I found my love of narcotics through that as well. So that paid on later in life to my use of opiates and alcohol to kind of numb who I was. Where I'm at now is a beautiful place. I spend every day in a place of happiness and joy and love, as I have found that I am love. Asking who am I? I am, God is love, I am love, God flows through me, love flows through me. That's who everybody is. It's just a matter of remembering that. And being that person, being a walking in a place of love, that's what I drew to me as we attract exactly what we are. And I drew love to me. She looks like that.
Yeah.
Who am I now? Oh, well, I'm kind of blossoming and developing and learning what my passions are. My passions, some of them are very, my family's my passion, my beloved's my passion, taking the kids to the Kroc Center is my passion, just family stuff is my passion. And then on several different equations, I like
too.
math too.
My nerd. I got a nerd.
Big time nerd. My grandfather, in many different settings, my paternal grandfather told me, work with your hands. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I work with computers, I work with math, whatever. It never really made sense to me until I realized the joy and the passion I get out of creating and crafting. And that's why, like, the drum workshops and the rattle workshops are such a healing thing for me and everybody involved. And I believe that's what my grandfather was telling me to do, with work with my hands. And my passion, I think, that I'm creating right now is an environment of healing and recovery through arts and crafts, through building.
Mm-hmm. And you just recently hosted a drum building. This is your second one you've done on your own, right? And I had the opportunity to do the ceremonial piece of it, which was really fun to hold space for that.
We're a good team.
We are. We really are. And it was really cool. I fell in love with watching you, how patient you are, and intentional and honoring of each individual person on their journey. Because I don't know if y'all have experienced any kind of like artwork or an art class in college or high school or grade school or drawing or I know when I was doing pottery in college, I was so insecure. Am I doing it right? I'm going to mess up, and I'm judging and comparing myself to everybody else's stuff. I'm looking around, and I'm not as good as that. I'm better than that, or whatever. But I noticed that everyone, when their stuff would come up, just your simple presence soothed them and helped them to create this amazing drum. We've heard from several people tonight that they love their drums, and you're a big part of that.
I'll tell you the secrets in the workshops on how I help people create. Want to know the secrets? It's pretty easy. Kindness and patience, the first two things. Same things I tell my daughters when they say they want a boyfriend or whatever. I say, find a man that's kind, find a man that's patient. Kindness and patience. The other thing I think the key is helping people realize how freaking awesome they are and how amazing they are and how skilled they are and how talented they are. I've mentored people in math, and more often than not, it's the reason someone is having difficulty with math is because they think math is hard. Once you get them past the point where they realize math doesn't have to be hard, they have the skills, they have the ability, it becomes easy for them. And that's the same thing with crafting and building drums, is you help the person realize you have the skills. If you walk in thinking it's going to be difficult, it's going to be difficult. If you walk in realizing and learn that I can do this, you can do it. And that's part of where the healing comes too.
Mm-hmm. When you found yourself in a place because you left a corporate job, a very long-term corporate job, and I know toward the end of that you were like, this isn't me. There was a shift in you that happened last year, and you were like, I think I'm done with this. And I remember you saying to me, I want to do something different. And you would bring up your grandfather, and about my grandpa always said, work with your hands, everything else will follow. And you would say that often, every time you would think about your job that you didn't want to go to every night. And when it shifted, what happened for you?
Well, when it shifted for me that I didn't want to be there, I still wasn't ready to leave. So in a way,
what were you holding on to, though?
The perceived security of it. I had medical, I had dental, I had retirement, I had a steady paycheck. I didn't have to have any faith. It's kind of like, it goes back to my biggest issue with my recovery, I've had some amazing, wonderful, beautiful experiences with God. I've connected with God on such a deep level. And then I look at God and I say, you're so awesome. So you go help those people. I can do it on my own. So you go help those people. So letting go of my job was letting go. The old let go, let God. That was a big step for me, was letting go of my job and just letting God provide.
But you didn't just lay down.
Oh, no.
You said, okay, oh crap, now we get to do what we really love, right? It's interesting to watch how everything has been provided for you, and you really haven't had to worry.
No.
It's amazing.
Well, I did worry. I didn't have to.
You didn't have to worry. It's always we always have choice to worry, to not worry. It's the same energy.
I used to say for worrying, people would ask me, Matt, you worry too much. And I would ask them, think of all the things you've worried about that never happened. And that list is big. I used to tell them that's proof that worrying works.
That's awesome.
Obviously not true. But anyway, it kept me in my whole worry phase for a while. So
yeah, that's nice. It's been really cool to watch you emerge. I don't think that we change. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I think I remember who I am. I know, like I said, I've known who I am. I know I am the divine. I know my connection with God. I know love flows through me, but it was a matter of accepting that. Mm-hmm. It's always been there. It was a matter of accepting that.
I've heard things like when couples get together, the man always wants the woman to stay the same, and the woman always hopes the guy will change.
And neither happens.
Neither happens. It's kind of funny. I want you to emerge. I want you to blossom into whomever you feel you are, and I want to see you as you, how you want to be seen.
I love you.
I love you too. This is kind of nice. I'm glad you held my hand tonight.
Yeah, a little more
It's pretty
comfortable for
good.
me, too.
Yeah, me too. I keep wanting, usually when we're this close, I'm either on his lap or right next to him or like cuddled in his arm right here because that's where I sleep.
Wally's usually rolling his eyes about now.
Throwing up in his mouth a little bit. The kids are getting better with it. This is how cool it is. My daughter asks me, "So, Mom, what's it like living with your soulmate?" I said, "Oh, you're talking about Matt? Yeah, it's awesome. It's pretty awesome."
We can talk about that if you like.
Heck yeah, let's do it. What do you want to say about it? Well, hey, you're talking about love on February 8th, aren't you?
Is that what I'm talking about? Talking about love on February 8th.
A true love story.
True love story.
About yourself.
Well, you got a little preview of it then. But living with your soulmate is
Or beloved or twin or whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it. It is dynamic. It is nuts. That's the only way I can. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's full of passion. But if you have any insecurities you don't want to deal with,
You're going to deal with them.
you're going to deal with them.
Period.
It's work. The flame part is very fire sign and air sign. So we get fanned and flamed and so any insecurity I've ever had comes to the surface and we deal with that. But the beauty of it is you're with someone that's also loving and forgiving and understanding and
That's him.
That's both of us. And but yeah, I used to read about the soul mate things, thinking, oh, that'd be wonderful because you can walk around and lollipops and licorice whips all the time, and sometimes licorice whips you. But it's all beautiful because everything that comes up is just another opportunity for growth. Everything.
And for me, coming from an experience of domestic violence and drug addiction and homelessness and all that stuff, and adult child of alcoholic dry mother, she was an adult child alcoholic, and having the rage and insanity stuff, not knowing really how to have a relationship, but to walk into one with someone who's also recovering, a recovering addict, and who's also has the same investment, the same fortitude, the same desire of the same outcome is like beyond anything I've ever experienced. So each time, I'm like, oh yeah, how about this curveball? And he's like, save that one for later.
Bring it.
Boom, bring it. And I'm like, well, how about this? No. What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And so I decided to be really honest. And I decided to be who I've come here to be, no matter what. And it was just a matter of finding another person who's willing to mirror that, and to know that even if I am human and I screw up or I'm pissy, or whatever the case may be, or if I think I'm being passive aggressive, which I can be, or I'm being codependent or whatever the case may be, that there's that level of knowing, because he says to me every time, there's always a benefit. Every time that we do that, you give me the opportunity to grow. I'm like, holy shit, man, that's so freaking cool. So cool. So I do want to get back to, I know that was part of the dynamic of who you are, and it ties into, of course, what we're doing here. I want to know more about you. You have an idea, a dream that you've been talking about a little bit, and it has to do with adolescence, helping adolescents, and artwork, and recovery stuff, and dynamics of therapy, because you are part of the seminary, yes, the seminary program through Sacred Space, and a student of Patricia's. So would you like to share that dream and see what comes of that?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit. When I talk about, when I think about what my passion is I've always had a heart of service, to serve in some way, and I'm still learning what all that means, but I've always had a heart to serve. And a way where I have a lot of passion for that is for adolescents that are dealing with whatever issues adolescents have. And I want to create an environment of, whether it's a workshop, whether it's a craft center, whether it's a place where we can bring people, as a destination we can bring adolescents or people in recovery or couples, and you heal and you work through your hands. Anyone who's been in one of my drum workshops will tell you I know that things have healed, especially if the way I do my drum workshops, I don't always offer just the easiest highs. I give people an opportunity to do a difficult one. And the reason for that is if someone's led to a difficult one, it's going to be hard. It's going to stretch them physically. As they work that high, they may cut their thumb, they may get frustrated, they may have to stand up and cry, whatever. But all of that brings an opportunity for you to heal, for you to face whatever brought you to that place in the first, brought you to the class in the first place. And so that's my dream, I guess, would be a craft center, but around healing, counseling, advising, but getting people out of their environment and moving. When you get the physical of a person moving, it changes and they open up. It's kind of like when I go back to the drum workshops, because that's what I've done recently, is when you take your hide and then you put your frame on it, you are literally physically centering that piece. That also helps center you. You've got focus, you've got a mission. And then you take those laces, and that's almost like your grounding work, because it balances and keeps that centered and balanced. So while you're physically doing this, spiritually you're more open and you're centered and you're balanced, so it gives you an opportunity to heal. So I want to create an environment of healing through working with my hands.
And so it is. I watched that with you and for you.
Thank you.
That's pretty exciting. Is there a way that you have a background in mediation? Is that correct? What other things do you have a background in?
I have training and background in dispute resolution and mediation. I mentioned the physical part of centering your drum or what you're doing, I use that in mediation as well. You have people that won't budge. You take a break and have people move. I know it sounds like pretty simple. It's like, hey, let's stand up. You get people to stand up. Let's go for a walk. You change their physical, it changes their perspective. There really is, to me, no difference between the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. So if you're impacting one, you're impacting them all. So we're on a physical plane. It's easy to work physically, and that is going to impact you mentally. It's going to impact you emotionally. It's going to impact you spiritually as well.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I would love to see your skills in action in regard to, not that I want to have dispute or anything, but is there a way that, do you hold workshops around that for men or couples or children or anything like that? Are you thinking about doing so?
I'm going to start scheduling those.
Yeah?
I haven't put those together yet.
Awesome. What will it look like, you think?
I don't know. It depends on what the need is. I want to have a focus where I can bring adolescents in that need to have healing or need a new outlook or new perspective, and remember confidence and skills. And that's one thing I believe as a parent, as a child's self-esteem is as important, if more important, than in just about any aspect of their development. If their self-esteem and their confidence in who they are is good, they can attack so many other things in their life and be able to develop and grow. So that's why the crafting comes in. You're given this task, and it's daunting sometimes. But when you complete it, it gives you a skill set and the confidence. And that's what I want to help people have, is just a belief in themselves.
A reminder.
That, yeah, you're fucking amazing.
Nice. That was a technical term, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you've answered the questions. Are you doing what you've come here to do? Are you being who you've come here to be? And do you know who you are?
I know who I am.
Who are you?
I am the divine.
Yes, you are.
As are you, as everybody here.
Yes.
What was the other one again? Let's go through them.
Okay. Are you doing what you've come here to do?
I believe we always are doing what we've come here to do.
What does it feel like?
Sometimes it sucks because I went through a lot of pain. I went through a lot of hurt. I went through a lot of anguish earlier in my life. But every step of that, every time I experienced anything, it was exactly what I needed at that moment to get me to where I am today.
But if someone's experiencing it right here, right now, experiencing that full suffering, that full on suffer to the bone, and they can't see the light of day, what can they know?
Remember that you're acting. I'm really an actor right now. Right now I'm being Matt. And if I don't
Macbeth.
Yeah, and if I don't like my story, I can just go to a different one.
Is it really just that simple?
No.
What would you recommend?
Well, for me, you see, I'm turning 43 this year, and I'm about now getting it down.
I'm a cougar. I'll be 46.
I don't know. It goes back to the confidence and the belief in who you are. When you know that you are literally love, you are the energy, you are the force behind everything. Your mind, the way we think, literally physically creates. And if you think of the universe as a big mind, any thought, any energy is literally creation as well. So if you start to take that energy and transform it into your life, you can literally create whatever you want, because everything goes down to basically just a thought and just energy. So we can create whatever story we want to create.
Have you ever been depressed?
Oh my gosh, I lived in depression for a long time. That's the story I held on to.
Did you think all of these things when you were depressed?
No. That goes back to, I lived a long time in the victim mode. So I can't be happy because I don't have XYZ. I don't feel loved because the relationship I'm in is not giving me the love I need. That's not the source of my love anymore. My source of my love comes from the universe. The source of my love comes from everything. So if I put my source of love, joy, and happiness is in anything material, it has the ability to go away.
Was there an aha or a pivotal moment? We call it the white light moment in recovery, when you were just like, I'm done being miserable and I'm about to change my life?
I had left an unhealthy relationship. I was homeless, living in a camper, sleeping in the back of a camper on a friend's back 40. Okay. And it was snowing out and I was cold. I couldn't really stay warm. I was shivering and I just cried out and I asked God, why is all this happening to me? And I started discovering an awakening prior to that, so I'd been researching, and I had a moment where I realized that right now everything's okay. I may be cold, but all my needs are met. I am love. And I was overwhelmed, just an overwhelming sense of love. And where it came from is I loved myself. And I feel that in order to attract love, you have to love yourself. I love me.
I love you too.
I love God so much. And that's kind of the same thing. God flows through me. That energy is me, so I love me.
It's beautiful. When you're in that depth and you had the moment where you're asking for help and you felt a new perception of yourself, or did things change right away for you, or did it happen over time when you started to be affirmed?
When you say things change, do you mean my outlook or do you mean my living circumstances?
Yes and yes.
My outlook started to change overnight. Yes, it did. I still had a lot of old habits where, I couldn't, this place I'm trying to stay didn't work out for me, so I started to get upset. Poor Patricia, she had to listen to a lot of that. Anyway, so so I thought my circumstances were what kept me from my happiness, but my happiness and my source of joy in walking in love changed pretty quickly. My circumstance took a little bit of time. By that, I don't know, a year?
Yeah. There's
that fast? I guess.
There's
I
no
don't know.
such thing as time, right? It's like blink of the eye is perception, right? Or perspective. I think that the density, what we're talking about is density, because our bodies are dense. I'm healthy. My body is dense. So it might take what we call time for it to start to manifest the health that I see within myself. And I see that oftentimes when people, they become discouraged when I say, well, I asked for help from creation and I'm putting all this effort forward and I'm not seeing the results that I expect, which are really limited, really, right? We want something, sometimes it's so small because we don't have that perspective of experience yet. So I think that what I watched you do, not what I think, but what I know is I watched you do is that you stayed positive, even though you would acknowledge that you were like, no, you know what, I'm feeling kind of funky today, but I know it's going to be all right. Everything's for my good.
Well, you told me
Everything's
that
for my
once
good.
when I was kind of down on myself. I said, well, give yourself today to feel that way. And I did. I did do that sometimes. And sometimes I did subscribe to the fake it till you make it. I knew I needed to start a meditation practice, and I would find reasons not to. And, I'm too depressed today. I'm too tired. I'm exhausted, so I can't do that. But the life I wanted required that. So there, at some point it shifted to where if I meditate, I have these things. Or if I change my outlook, my circumstances changed instead of requiring on the circumstances to change my outlook. So it's kind of a switch. There was a switch there that changed for me, realizing that my outlook, my thoughts create, as opposed to my circumstance or where I am controlling my thoughts.
I call that the contagion process. I learned a long time ago that I could either be the sick one in the room that infected everyone. We've all been in the room where that one person walks in and they're really grumpy.
That was
and
you?
The Debbie Downer. Everybody's like, meh. You can watch the whole energy of the room. Everybody becomes infected, unless the room is like really, really happy, and then they become infected, right, with the joy, or the vice versa. The whole room is like meh, and one bubbly person walks through the door, da, 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 and the whole room starts to kind of shift and integrate into this, and they become infected with joy. That's what I decided to do. I said, I'm going to be a contagion of joy. There are two kinds of empaths that I've learned. There's a kind of empath that feels everything, and there's another kind of empath that feels everything and also gives feelings. I'm kind of one of those people. So I have to be careful of not being too passive aggressive because I can do that. If I'm feeling a certain way, people are like, are you all right? And I'm like, oh, shit. I really thought I was, masking and doing all that stuff, but plus I'm with a bunch of psychics. Weird. They know better. But I think it's been really cool to watch you emerge. And that's what I meant by emerge. I don't think that we ever change. I think we just continue to emerge. The universe doesn't change. It just keeps emerging and unfolding unto itself. It just keeps billowing out. The flower doesn't change, but it blooms and it keeps opening, right? And that's what I feel like we do as humans, is that we just continue to emerge. And all those layers, they come off. If I never put one more toxic thing into my body, and let's say I live another 40 years, the regeneration process in my body, minus gravity, minus maybe some turmoil or whatever, which causes the other chemical reactions in my body, I would have a really, really healthy body, perfect body. But it starts from within. The foods I eat, the thoughts I think, my environment.
And there is no difference between your physical, emotional, and spiritual. So if you start your thought process internally, make that good, make that love, make that joy, make that peace.
It's a vibration.
You're going to create an environment of love and joy and peace and abundance.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Have you ever felt like the other shoe was going to drop? In your emergence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had moments like that where it's like we have learned, we learn sometimes, I don't like this example, but I'm going to use it anyway. If you have a dog that's been smacked around, if I raise my hand to pet that dog, it's going to flinch. Sometimes it takes years of gently reaching your hand to that dog before it finally allows you to just pet it. So yeah, I still have some of those, and that's whether it's body memory or whatever it is. I have some moments of doubt sometimes, like this is too good to be true. I do have that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Just stay in the now.
But over time, I mean, and then that's where the patience comes in, is over time, you know. And when I can use the example. If I reach my hand out to you to love you and you flinch, I need to be patient with that and keep extending the hand.
Yeah.
Keep extending the hand. And if I do that with you or to anyone around me, the universe is also going to do that to me.
Yeah, it's true.
So it'll keep extending its hand to me, even if I flinch.
Yeah. Makes me cry. It's so
I love
sweet.
you.
I love you too. This happens on my show too. I'll have a guest and I'll just start weeping because they're so amazing. Have you ever cried on the air? Sarah has. She cries with me on the air. Sarah Lemos in the house. Yeah, she's cried with me on the air. I even think when I interviewed you, Patricia, on the air, I think I cried then too. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's I asked my daughter, one of my daughters. I have 4 daughters and 3 sons. I have 7 total, but 6 that I raised. And people in our house are experiencing illness right now. And she said, you know, sometimes I like being sick. And I was like, why? And I mean, I somehow I kind of got it because I know sometimes it's the only time I've ever had to just relax and maybe have the perception of being cared for or something, you know? And she said that it helps her to like, well, she said this first. She goes, yeah, I kind of like being sick. It's because my life is so good and so filled with joy that sometimes it helps me to just feel like I'm not going to float away. And I said, so suffering helps you stay grounded? And she said, yeah, it keeps me grounded. It keeps me connected with everybody else. Otherwise, I feel like I'm just kind of up here floating around all the time in joy. I was like, dude, that's awesome. I know exactly what she means. Because do you know what it's like to be the only happy person? Like, not here. I mean, we have a lot of happy people, right? Or people who experience joy on a continuous basis and have more and more experiences of joy in their lives than not. I mean, a lot of us have either cried the ocean of misery and then now experiencing some joy, or we've had a lot of joy and a little bit of misery, or something in between, right? These are the faces that I know, women who share with me their experiences. I have the opportunity to work with women, and they share with me, you know, oh man, I'm so glad you're sharing that. I walked through that too. How did you get there? I want that. And I knew early on, when I was in the depths of my own despair about 18 years ago, and remembering that little pilot light, and I shared this before in here, but just a reminder, I had that little pilot light moment where I was like literally on my knees crying, and I just wanted to die. I didn't want to get hit, not one more time. And I decided, and I asked, I was like, take me now, man, because if this is it, I ain't doing it. I'm not down for this at all. And I had that white light experience, the knowing that your life will not be in vain. You will help other women. And that's all I held on to. I was like, I can't live this life for me, but I can live it for you. But now I get to live it for me. And my beloved reminded me the other day, he said, don't forget about yourself in this. These lessons are for you too. And I still argued with him. I was like, no. Kind of like what you said. God, you are so good. Now go help those people, or help me so I can help them.
I got me. I can take care of me.
I got this.
Yeah.
Shoot. Right? Sometimes I forget, being a mom who's always given of herself and given of her. I earn this, I've given of my body, my time, my sweat, my blood, my tears, my worry, my brain. I think I have mommy fog, And we forget that this glory is all for us, really, ultimately. But we can't keep what we have unless we give it away. That's what they say in the program. I'm getting it now. But it's a simultaneity. It's like the lotus flower. When it blooms, as it's blooming, there's a seed on the edge of the lotus flower, of the petal. And as it unfurls, it drops into the water and makes more of itself. But it has to drop into the murky water first. It's all muddy and murky and yucky, and you can't see through to the bottom. And then it goes down, it starts to germinate, and it seeds and roots, and there it is. Finds its way to the light. And then it does it again. And that's what I'm finding, is that it's the simultaneity of that process of I give of my seed, and I'm experiencing the blooming at the same time. It's like I'm blooming and I'm seeding, and I'm blooming and I'm seeding. So that's to give it away, enjoy it while you're giving it away. That's such a beautiful process of service. It really is a selfless thing to do, and it's so selfish at the same time. So it's kind of
I also want to point out, when I say I experienced all these things in the past, and all the pain and all the suffering, another key to that is I had to let go of my judgment. And I have to realize those weren't bad experiences. There is no good, there is no bad. There's all just experiences. So when you see that that's just the path that I took, those are all choices that I made. It's a story I wrote before I got here. So when you let go of the judgment of this is a good situation, this is a bad situation, sleeping in the camper, I wasn't sleeping outside. And that's still judgment.
I like sleeping under the stars, but on my terms.
Who's to say that was a bad experience?
Right. Awesome.
It was a letting go of that everything's just experiences. There is no good, there is no bad. So I can just create what I want, good or bad.
It's beautiful. Is there anything else that you would like to share that I've forgotten? Anything on your heart?
I think we've covered everything.
Okay. You have some, I should say we have some shameless plug. Yeah. More drum making classes, of course, workshops, and rattles. We're not sure if we're doing rawhide or turtle, which is awesome. And medicine bag making. I'm an enrolled member of the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma. And I get to carry beautiful fans and feathers and all that good stuff. And I have ceremony that I share with my elders taught me basket weaving, Cherokee style. So I get to have a women's retreat in May that we're going to do some of that in. So what else, honey? Just a reminder, February 8th, you're going to be giving service here.
February 15th at 3 p.m. It's the third Sunday of every month starting in February. We are going to have a drum circle here at Sacred Space, and that'll be at 3 p.m. So February 15th will be the first. March 1st, I think, is our rattle.
I think so.
Class, and then is it in April we have? I have to look.
We have some stuff happening in April. We have trips and stuff and things.
We got stuff planned. Anyway.
And the Walk of Hope in India in October.
Is there any workshops you guys would like to see? Is there any stuff that you guys would like to make? I've always wanted to do a boom.
Not making, yeah, no.
Bombs?
I was made a boom. That's code for
to
bomb.
To me, boom was an idea. And so that's what I don't have a light that goes on. I have an explosion. It's firing neurons that just go all over. So what I meant is, there something you guys would like to see?
It's a Gemini moon.
I guess not.
Okay. How about questions?
Drum.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'd really like to do that. I probably could get 10 people together.
We'll get a sign-up list going before you leave or something. Does anyone have any questions for Matt?
Yes.
Hi.
What type of mathematics are you interested in?
I started off with, I'd say my main focus is geometry. I have a big interest in sacred geometry, and I like the way I see things is very geometrical, and so it just makes sense for me. I enjoy algebra, calculus. I enjoy, different expressions of math, we'll call it that way. But I'd say geometry is probably my biggest love. Sure.
He's a pie nerd, by the way.
Yeah. How far can you recite it?
Not very far.
Dang it.
Go ahead, give it to
Let me do it again.
Do it.
I only know 26 off the top of my head, but it's 3.1415926535897932384626433.
That's so hot. I get to live with that.
The golden sequence, and that type of the geometry you see existing everywhere in nature is probably my biggest passion.
Anything else? Any other question?
Not
Jeremy.
a question, more of a statement, Matt. I love you for being you. I just want you to know you were a huge inspiration, and I appreciate having you as a part of this.
I love you very much. And we're going to hug it out as soon as we're done here.
He's going to love you so hard.
You betcha.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Do you have any questions for me or about the sacred space or?
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Sure.
How do you, I've always wanted to do what I wanted to do, but how do you make
I think we should both answer that. You want to answer first?
Some of that is magic. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I had sources I didn't even know existed. I've had there's some money made at the workshops, but that doesn't. I haven't made enough to pay rent yet on one of those.
Yeah.
But I said yet.
Yeah. I'm just affirming that. Yeah.
But I've just had sources of income come in. I also do other work on the side as well. I still do some IT work as well. But I'm walking in faith that it will come.
I'm more of a proof gal. Faith is great, but faith doesn't get me off the couch. So, excuse me. Sorry. When I did ask myself, because I have lots of experience because I keep trying on different shoes. And so I have a lot of different areas that I'm interested in, but what is the one thing I would do for free forever? I naturally touch people, literally, like I'm one of these kind of chicks. Oh, hi. How you doing? Hug me. Hi. Oh, hi. So over time, maybe, I'm going to say it this way. Is there anything that you've been told, like, man, you should really, have you ever thought about doing that? Is there anything? Can you name one of them? If there's something that you've been impassioned about since you were 4, this is another way that that I help when I've been asked this question. I help people to jog their memory, and that is, what did you want to do when you were 4?
writing on the blackboard?
So I would look at the archetypes. I would go through archetypes, Jungian archetypes, either through Arian Angelus or Carl Jung himself or Marianne Williamson, and Google it. Archetypes with those, and then just look at each of the archetypes and see what calls to you. And the shadow side is what I can identify with most quickly, because I don't really like myself sometimes, but I can sure, look at my old crap. So when I look at the things that are the shadow and I see the light side of it, I go, oh my gosh, I'm a teacher, healer, visionary, those things. And I do have the sightedness, and I can see into people's divinity. And so I can see to the root of things. And I just happen to love root magic or root medicine stuff. I use roots when my kids are sick. I use roots and stuff like that. and I love like voodoo, and I'm attracted to it. Not that I'm gonna like, but I'm attracted to that stuff, and I can't deny it. It's just who I am, and like what impassions me. It just happens, which is really weird. I get paid to do what I love every day. Like people pay me to rub them and to give them herbs. Like who does that? Every day. People pay me to tell them stories about animal medicine. People pay me to do that. Who would have ever thought? Something that I love and that comes so naturally to me. What comes to the business side that people get caught up in is, how the heck does that happen? Like, how can I make money at doing that? Because I did this to myself. Well, how can I make money doing that? Like, suddenly I got stumped. Like, how do I market myself? How do I market myself? And do I even have anything worthy of marketing, right? Really. That's why I'm asking you specifically. I can help you with some specifics. One of my talents is to I can see far into boom, 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 boom. Have you considered that and that and that and that and that? And then it's up to you to go, oh, I'm open to anything that's going to bring that forward. So it's looking into what's really available and being open to the outcome. That's a big deal. And then you will make money no matter what. It's a guarantee. We are given the ideas to do things because it's ours to do. Period. And we live in this society, and guarantee the universe is going to support you in that. The divine will support you in that because it wants to make more of itself, no matter what. So the more that you do what you've come here to do, the more that you do what you love, the more that you're impassioned with, the money's going to follow. Matt is a perfect example of that. He is doing what he loves with his hands. It dawned on him. He's like, oh my God, I'm working with my hands and I'm getting paid for it. Now, how do we make more of that? We have to sit down, or he sits down and I sit beside him, and we look on the calendar for the year and we say, okay, well, we have this going on. Let's do a workshop there, and let's do a workshop there. And we start talking about it, and people go, oh my God, I want to do that. And you're going to pay us for it? What? And it's reasonable, We don't have to charge $1,000 for a drum making contest. That too, we could try that if you want.
Contest.
But the things that happen is that you start to talk about it, and the divine ideas flow, and then the energy gets bigger, and you start to get excited, and you get this little tingling feeling inside, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I'm doing it.
Do you see the ads for that show, Big Giant Sword?
No, I don't watch TV.
Sword. This is ridiculous.
Yes,
That would be awesome.
totally, right?
Well, like my idea of I want to have a center, an art center, craft center, whatever you want to call it. I don't know how much it's going to cost.
Who cares?
I don't need to know. That doesn't matter. I visualized what's going to happen and what's going to be there. Not far from our home, I found a location that is available. I don't know what the lease is.
Paying attention.
I don't have the cash in the bank to do that. That isn't going to stop me from going to check it out. Just create it, and things follow. Things follow. That's also the flip in my mind, is I don't say, okay, I want that center, so I need to put my business plan together. Not that that's a bad thing. It's great to create it, but my business plan is different. I don't figure out I need X amount for rent. I need X amount for, money-wise, and then create the money to do that. Mm-hmm. I create that, and the money will follow if that's what's even necessary. I don't even know if money's going to be necessary to run this. I could walk in and the person who owns the place says, you know what, I want to support that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Why would I take it out of God's hands and say, I'm not going to trust you to create this. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to make the money for it. I'm going to say this is how it's going to come about. No, this is what needs to come about. You deal with the details. I'm going to show up.
And say thank you a lot.
A lot.
And pay
of
attention. So we are a little over time. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I assume it'll be a little bit quick. It's back to the gentleman's question of when you just leave something, you left your corporate job, your security. Do you feel at that time, did you also have to know that if there was a failure, you would still keep going, and it seems like you also had to be willing to live in that camper. You had to be willing to live your stick home.
Definitely.
You had to be open to the possibility that things might get rough.
There was a point in my life where I was, prior to our relationship, I was married. It was not an environment that was healthy for me at that time. I'm not blaming anyone for anything. It was not good for me. And I made a choice to leave that environment with nothing. And I decided, I was so desolate at the point where I decided I'd rather be homeless because my happiness was not found there. And so when you get to that point that you're just willing to take whatever risk and move forward, yeah, I'm not calling this in from the universe, but if I were homeless tomorrow, I'd still be happy.
But you have to be open to the possibility.
I had to be open to that. I
worth it
I had
too?
to stop saying to myself that I need to make X amount of money to fund it. Because then I'm still trying to just determine how it's going to be
Conditioned.
built. I had to just let go. It's scary, man.
But it's
it's
scarier
beautiful.
being so depressed too and unhappy. Way scarier, I promise you.
I mean, we
I know it. I know. That's what's cool about this is that everybody's like, I know.
we all want to be happy. We really do. But I also realize that my house doesn't make me happy. My money doesn't make me happy. So I'm willing to risk things that don't affect my happiness. I'm not willing to risk things that impact my happiness. I'm not willing to let go of my faith in the Creator. I'm not willing to let go of that. I'm not willing to let go of who I am in the divine. I'm not willing to risk that. Those I hold on to because those are what keep me happy and those what make me feel loved every day. The money doesn't. I've had money and I've had no money.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
being my guest and my beloved and my confidant and my awesome partner, my dream come true. And thank you for everyone for the opportunity to be here with you tonight. Thank you very much. Thanks again, Steve, and my sound god and goddesses back there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Wally, for supporting us too. And this is my son, Wally, my youngest of our 7, or our 11, because he has 4 too. It's awesome. I have one exercise before we go. And this has to do with, are you being who you've come here to be? Are you really doing it, right? Okay, everybody reach up really high. Reach as high as you can. As high as you can. As high as you can. Okay, there you go. Now reach a little bit further. Why were you able to reach further when you were older reaching as high as you can? Did you notice? You were able to reach a little bit further even when you're reaching as high as you could. That's the deal, man. You all have it. We all do. We are given every amount that we need to achieve what we get to do being here awake on this earth. So thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from you again. Matt can be reached for more questions or insights, or if you wake up in the middle of the night, lovelaughtersilliness.com. No,
I'm still putting
at
that together.
gmail.com. I'm happyspirit.lmt@gmail or soultalk.jada@gmail.com. And again, Saturday nights, 9 to 11 p.m. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, my love.